Breaking news overnight, President Trump's military strike on Syria, the first direct attack on Syria's regime from U.S. forces during that country's deadly civil war. We do have new video this morning from Syrian television. It was shot from some distance, but the graphic says it shows the scene of the attack. Of course, it was early in the morning there, still dark in Syria. And about an hour after the strike, President Trump spoke from Florida, explaining it was a vital U.S. interest to respond to Syria's use of chemical weapons. Syria's leaders have responded, calling it an act of aggression by the U.S., and Syria's ally Russia has also condemned the attack.
Here is what we know right now. The attack began at 4:40 a.m. local time. 59 Tomahawk missiles fired from 2 warships in the Mediterranean. The attack lasting approximately 35 minutes. The Syrians and Russians claiming 6 were killed. The target was an airfield in the western province of Homs, the very airfield where Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's troops are said to have launched this week's deadly chemical attack that killed more than 80 civilians.
And the United States said they had proof of that as well. Our ABC News team in place around the world to cover this story. We begin with our chief global affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. This was one of the fastest punitive strikes in recent memory. President Trump wasting no time after that deadly chemical attack. Overnight, retaliation from his Florida estate. A passionate President Trump saying the airstrikes were meant to prevent future chemical attacks.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
Dozens of U.S. missiles raining down on that Syrian airbase. This Pentagon video showing the 2 U.S. Navy destroyers, the USS Porter and the USS Ross, launching 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles from the darkness of the Mediterranean Sea. Traveling some 500 miles an hour, smashing into the airbase, the barrage of missiles destroying Syrian aircraft, supply bunkers, and radars at the Sharat airfield. The strike ordered to punish Syrian President Bashar al-Assad for killing his own citizens in this horrific chemical attack. Overnight, the Pentagon declassifying this flight path data of a Syrian plane. They say it proves the Syrian government dropped the deadly sarin gas. That deadly gas attack taking place here in Idlib, the airbase targeted in the overnight strike, located 80 miles south. The Pentagon launching at night to minimize civilian casualties. Eyewitnesses telling ABC News that before the raid even started, Syrian officials began evacuating personnel and moving equipment away from the airbase. This morning, the aftermath, debris and death, according to the Syrians. The Syrian military condemning the strike. This video statement saying the attack killed 6 and wounded a number of people. But whatever loss the Syrian military suffered, for President Trump, there was no question that what those civilians suffered deserved a response.
It is in this vital national security interest of the United States to prevent and deter the spread and use of deadly chemical weapons.
And, George, a little more about those Tomahawk missiles. As you know, they were widely used in the Gulf War. They're capable of traveling long distances. They fly very low. And obviously, they aren't manned, so the risk is less.
Quite accurate as well. As you pointed out, this was a pretty swift decision from President Trump, but this is the kind of plan that the military's had on the shelf for a long time.
A very long time. They had to update those plans, obviously, after this chemical attack. Secretary Mattis offered several options to President Trump. This is the one he chose.
And shortly after the attack, President Trump delivered a statement. It was about an hour after the raid. It was after his dinner at Mar-a-Lago with the Chinese president.
Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children. It was a slow and brutal death for so many. Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack. No child of God should ever suffer such horror.